Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of the Edgar Rice Burroughs Authorized Library edition of Tarzan and the Ant-Man. So this is going to be a review of the format for this novel as opposed to the novel itself, because I also talked about the story inside would be here all day. So we're going to take a look at the Authorized Library editions of Tarzan. And so why did I begin with Tarzan and the Ant-Man? This is actually the 10th novel in the series. And so the reason I picked this one is that this was the one that I left off on when I was a kid. I got right here and life interrupted me and I never got back to reading the Tarzan novels. So I was thinking, maybe this would be a good way to continue reading it, because these were great. These were cheap. You get 2 novels per book here. This was put out in the 90s during that Tarzan push around Tarzan the Epic Adventures and stuff like that. And, it's readable, but, the text is small. You have to kind of pry it open. And I thought that this might be a pretty good way to experience this. But I do mention this because there are many, many different ways to experience Burroughs novels, right? There are many, many different editions that have been put out over the years of Burroughs' novels. And so there is no shortage of different ways that you can get them. And some of them, like this one that I got right here, are in the public domain. So you could even get them for free at this point. So why would you want to pay $30 for this hardcover? That's what we'll be exploring. So first of all, let's define what an Edgar Rice Burroughs Authorized Edition is. So this is put out by Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated, and it is the first time ever that all of Edgar Rice Burroughs' work will be put out in one uniform format. And so it is a long list of work. I will show you the list. It's quite impressive. So what is the format that they're putting it out in? So we're going to have a beautiful painted Joe Jusko cover on the dust cover for the book, and there's a frontispiece by Joe Jusko, and then on the back you have a picture of Edgar Rice Burroughs. And so this is what it looks like without the dust cover. And so it has a new forward and afterword, and the afterword will give you some insights into why Burroughs wrote the novel and why he wrote it the way he did and things like that. And so in the back there are archival materials, including covers from different publications of the novel, as well as notes and letters from Burroughs regarding the novel. And I don't know if this is something you can walk into a store and buy, but they do have it online at Walmart, Target, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, EdgarRiceBurroughs.com. And if you buy it from EdgarRiceBurroughs.com, they do have these sales where you can get 4 novels for the price of 3. They have that going for the first 4 novels in the Tarzan series, and those are really great novels that really established all of his supporting cast. And they also have a sale on the next 4 novels, which will be coming out literally any day now, and those include Tarzan at the Earth's Core and Tarzan and the City of Gold. As far as where I would recommend buying it from, EdgarRiceBurroughs.com does know how to ship novels. Target also does too, and I actually got this one from Target because I got a little bit of a discount with my red card and free shipping. However, that is only the print edition. There is actually a Kindle edition of this. However, the Kindle edition will not have the archival materials that I was showing you, but it does contain the forward and presumably the afterword as well, as along with the Joe Jusko cover and frontispiece. You're not going to be able to find the Kindle edition through the listings for the print novel. If you click on the Kindle edition for the print listing, it's just going to take you to some random ebook version of the novel, probably an unauthorized version. The way you find them is to go to the Edgar Rice Burroughs store on Amazon. Click on the books category and then the Kindle subcategory, and then you'll be able to find them. The Kindle editions are only $4 a piece, and they are a little bit behind, and they don't have the latest novels that they've put out on there yet, but there is plenty to keep you busy. There are also audiobook versions you can get from the Authorized Library. These include the forward and presumably the afterword, and they are available on CD. And so there are digital versions of the audiobooks too. The Amazon store will have the Audible version of it, which you can listen to with a subscription. The authorized edition audiobooks are available on both iTunes and Google Play. Just search for authorized edition, and do note that they are also a little bit behind and don't have the latest novels that they've put out, but again, plenty there to keep you busy. And by the way, take a listen to the sample for the audiobook on Google Play. They have a really epic theme song for the audiobooks. I was impressed. But anyway, let's take a closer look at this print edition. And starting with the cover, we see one of the main selling points for the authorized library. And of course, I'm referring to the logo design by Mike Wolfer. Okay, maybe that's not a selling point exactly, but it is nice design work. And the logo itself is a altered version of one that was used probably back in the 90s. I remember it being on the Malibu comics, but there's been a bit of an addition here. The hole in the R is now the continent of Africa, which I thought was a nice touch. Looking at the cover itself, we have a beautiful Joe Jusko painting. And Joe Jusko just put so much work into his stuff. I mean, the design work, the layout, the rendering, the emotion, it's just so beautiful and so spot on to the novel. And this is one of the most exciting things about this authorized library, is that A, you've got the highest caliber of artists working on the covers. B, it's by Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated, so you know the covers are going to be faithful to the novels. And C, it's 2022, so a lot of the sensibilities that caused, Martian women to be wearing long dresses or Martians not to have the correct skin color or whatever just don't exist anymore. So you're going to get really good, faithful covers to the novels, and I'm super, super looking forward to what Joe Jusko can do with the rest of Burroughs' stuff. And so when you open it up, you see this Tarzan logo, which I find kind of interesting. I do wonder what they'll have here for the other series when they get to those. And speaking of those other series, they actually list all the novels that they plan to put out. This is over 80 novels that Edgar Rice Burroughs put out. And honestly, I've never seen this list before, and I just was like really awestruck by how much work he put out. The first page is, of course, devoted to Tarzan novels, and so Burroughs did 24 Tarzan novels, and there's a couple other books they added in there. So Burroughs did 2 books starring the Tarzan twins that were aimed at children, and so both those books will be reprinted in a single novel called Tarzan and the Tarzan Twins. And it will also include Tarzan, the Lost Adventure. This was a fragment that Burroughs never completed that was later turned into a novel by Joe R. Lansdale and was published by Dark Horse in 4 parts during the 90s. And this included Thomas Yeats's art on the interior, and hopefully that will be reprinted in the authorized edition, most likely included in the archival material in the back. And the second page of the list includes all of his other series, Mars, Venus, the Moon, Mucker, all that stuff. And at the very end, we have like miscellaneous books, the ones that he only did like 1 novel of, and that includes Beyond the Furthest Star. It also includes stuff that I've never heard of, like Beware the Scientist Revolt and You Lucky Girl. I have no idea what either of those novels are, but I look forward to the Joe Jusko covers. And the novel also includes this beautiful frontispiece by Joe Jusko, and these are wonderful. If you want to browse the frontispieces, just go on iCanvas and search for Joe Jusko. That'll pull up both his covers for the authorized edition and frontispieces, and you can actually order them as canvas prints or frame prints that you can hang on your wall at pretty much any size you want. And it includes a foreword, and the foreword seems to be just someone telling their thoughts on Edgar Rice Burroughs and the novel. And then you get the novel, which is basically just a standard printing of the novel. However, in this case, this is actually the first time we've ever gotten Burroughs' original names for the chapters, so that's kind of a cool touch. There is a single annotation in this novel, and it's basically just telling you that the scene that's being referred to appeared in a previous novel. This is not an annotated edition. All the extra information is at the end. And then that brings us to the afterword. And I gotta tell you, honestly, this is the best afterword I've ever read, because when I read a Burroughs novel, I have all kinds of questions about, like, how did it come about? What was Burroughs thinking? You know, what was going on at the time? And the afterword in this novel answers all of those questions. Plus, it gives you a context for all the archival material you're about to see. And I don't think all of them are quite this thorough, but they all do give context as to how the novel came about and what was going on with Burroughs at the time. And so the archival material has a table of contents to tell you where it comes from. The archival material is very thorough, but it is unfortunately in black and white, which for a high contrast image like this, you can still read it and appreciate it, but it does diminish it because obviously this cover was originally in color and the colors were quite beautiful. The original novel cover is not as high contrast and I think is a little bit harder to read in black and white. However, most of them hold up pretty well. I still wish they were in color. This would have been great for the Kindle edition if they could have included this, because then they could have done them all in color and that would have been awesome. And it's really cool just seeing all these different covers from different eras that reprinted this book. Interior art is also included. This one at the top is my favorite because it has Tarzan using an Ant-Man like a club to beat other Ant-Man. It's just great. Even the covers from the Gold Key comic adaptions of the novel are included. There's even old promotional material included, including this ad that has Burroughs' last name misspelled, like Burroughs, like to dig into the ground. Notes and sketches from Burroughs for the novel are included. Sketches Burroughs did to think things out for the novel were also included. The notes in the sketches are a bit small, but if you take a picture of them with your phone, you can blow them up. It is very high quality printing, and so you can blow them up with your camera. And I love this drawing Burroughs did of the Ant-Man. It looks really great. This is another thing that would have been great on the Kindle edition, because then you could have just zoomed in on these if this had been included with the Kindle. One quick side note, EBRzine has pages for each of Burroughs' novels and has the covers for them in color, and some of the images on there are larger or can be clicked on to get larger images. However, some of them are small and cannot be enlarged, like for instance these images right here along with these paperback covers. However, I think this does make a nice companion to the archival materials you're going to see in the back of these novels. Just want to throw out that quick side note. Back to the novel. And then in the back of all the novels will be this little informative biography of Edgar Rice Burroughs and some information on Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated. And there's also some ads in the back for other things that they're putting out. And then you have the back cover with Burroughs just standing there chilling. And so that is an Edgar Rice Burroughs Authorized Library edition. And I would say, in my opinion, just the Joe Jusko art and the afterword alone make this the definitive way to experience this novel. So even if you're getting the audiobook, even if you're getting the Kindle whenever the Kindle comes out of this particular book, I would say that is definitely the preferred way to experience this. As I said before, this is not the only way to read these books. It's not the cheapest way to read these books, but after getting this, I would say it's probably the best way to get these books. And to be honest with you, I went into this review thinking I would not need this. I didn't think I would want to pay $30 a pop to buy these novels, but after reading it cover to cover, oh, I absolutely need this. So my only qualm is that black and white archival material in the back. I can kind of understand them not wanting to put it in the Kindle to to entice you to buy the print edition, and then of course, color would have cost more money. My thought would be perhaps put it online and put a QR code in the novel that we could scan to access it online in color, and that way we could zoom in on those notes and stuff like that. I think that would be a nice little added bonus. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. Anyway, I look forward to seeing all the other novels that they're going to put out in this series. I know it's going to take many, many years, but it is a very worthwhile endeavor. All right, got plenty more videos coming, so like and subscribe for more videos. And until next time, see ya.